scenario. You want to compete in horse judging. So you spend hours a day reading confirmation critiques online, watching World Show winning runs, the whole 9 yards. And soon the morning of the contest arrives. You get there bright and early, you pick up your team's information packet and try to relax. You're confident in the preparation you've had until an announcement rings through the loudspeaker and your stomach drops. Classes 2, 4, 6, and 8 will be oral reasons classes for today's contest. You completely forgot to practice reasons, and just like that, the confidence you felt just a minute ago is completely gone. Now rewind to the day you decided to judge. If you had known then that reasons would be required and had had the resources to properly prepare, would this situation have had a different outcome? Chances are your answer is a resounding yes, whether you've experienced this or not. Good morning, I'm Catherine Meyer. I'm 18 years old and I've been a member of Erie County 4-H for 7 years. I'm currently a member of the New York State 4-H National Judging Team, which will be competing in Louisville, Kentucky in November of 2014. Originally, oral reasons were created in order to create a bridge between the judge and the contestant. From reasons, contestants learn what judges are truly looking for in a class, and in turn, judges are able to assess the true knowledge of horse judging that the contestant possesses. It's essentially a win-win situation for both parties. However, many people choose not to judge simply because they don't know what reasons even are. It's simple. A set of reasons is a short speech, 2 minutes long or less, that explains to the judge why the contestant placed the class the way he or she did. Generally, reasons are held in a closed room separate from the rest of the contest and are held after the actual judging takes place. Notes are not allowed, and the key is to explain your thoughts to the judge while being brief and to the point. Reasons are often considered the most overwhelming part of a horse judging contest, and for good reason. Especially since many teens and preteens find public speaking incredibly intimidating, they're often the elephant in the room for many competitors. However, with the right resources and enough practice, they can quickly become the easiest part of a day in center ring. All you need is some elbow grease, a little willpower, and 6 easy steps to steer you onto the right path and help you reach reasons nirvana, if you will. So without further ado, step 1. Fake it till you make it. Now this is step 1 for a reason. That reason being, if you freeze or mess up right in the middle of a set of reasons, you need to be able to recover smoothly and regain your train of thought in a quick and informed manner. The reasons room is a very stressful environment, and very rarely do judges hear a set of reasons without the contestant tripping over their words or missing a beat. The trick to this is to remain unconditionally confident, no matter what happens. If you walk into the reasons room like you've already won the contest and this is just a victory lap, chances are you'll be less stressed, and the judge will be more willing to accept your argument as true if you're persuasive and don't show any doubt that it is in fact true. Reasons tend to be the biggest obstacle for competitors in horse judging to this day, ever since they were created. The object is to walk into the room, explain your thoughts to the judge, and walk out. However, it's not that simple for many competitors. It involves a lot of anxiety, and the more preparation you have, the better, which leads me into our step 2. Practice, rinse, and repeat. I know this sounds incredibly cliched, but bear with me. The more practice you have in this area of horse judging, the better you are off, because reasons are mostly concerned with the familiarization with terminology and concepts. So the more practice a competitor has under their belt, the better off they are generally. One of the best ways to practice forgetting reasons is to create brief outlines using descriptions of major characteristics of each horse in a practice class you've been judging, and to use these outlines to give brief sets of oral reasons ad lib. This creates flexibility for improvisation in case of an acute case of pre-reasons empty brain syndrome. Everybody's experienced it. It's not that uncommon. Additionally, give reasons on anything and everything. This sounds weird, but horses usually aren't the easiest thing to learn how to talk about without flinching for 2 minutes straight. The quickest way around this is to start slow and work your way up. Even the best competitors need to go back to basics, and usually trying out new techniques and ways of wording things is easier when you're talking about things you come across in everyday life. For example, in my house, it's not too uncommon to hear around a corner, "Ma'am, I placed this class of zucchini." Case in point. Step 3, find a good coach. Usually, having someone to help you along the way is just as important to good performance in the reasons room as regular practices. Find someone who knows what they're doing. It could be an actual judging coach for a college or a club them tell you what you're doing right and wrong. Personally, I have in the past sent coaches videos of reasons as well as left them on their voicemails. Even better, some voicemails have a 2-minute time limit, which forces you to stay within the time constraints. Step 4, make a good first impression. This includes everything from attire to voice and inflection to body language. As far as attire goes, it varies based on the level of the contest you'll be attending. For a regional or state level contest, a pair of nice jeans with a belt and a neatly pressed button-down Oxford shirt is all that's required. However, for a national or world level contest, attire should be a bit more formal. A white or light colored Oxford, navy blazer, khakis, and a conservative belt with no bling is the norm. What I'm wearing right now is considered appropriate for a contest at this level. For all contests, plain black or brown boots, and if you're a girl, hair pulled back neatly and away from the face is considered appropriate. Hats are never allowed at any horse judging contest, and there should be no identifying marks such as team logos anywhere on your person. Boots should never, ever, 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 ever have spurs on them. This is considered incredibly unprofessional by most judges and is frowned upon. As far as body language goes, the obvious is true. Eye contact, erect yet relaxed posture, and confidence are all necessary. The reasons voice, as many competitors refer to it as, is often very different per competitor and can take a while to find. Oftentimes, the voice that you feel most confident giving reasons in will not be the voice that you speak with in everyday conversation. For example, my public presentations voice, which I've been using this entire time, is very different from my everyday pronunciation and inflection, which in turn is in great contrast to my reasons voice. Additionally, the reasons voice is often a very technical art. If you need to try and find your reasons voice, generally what helps is to give reasons. You'd think that'd be obvious, but many people ask how you find your reasons voice, and it's apparently not. One of the biggest things about a reasons voice is that you shouldn't be quiet enough that you have to stand right on top of the judge, but you shouldn't be loud enough that they can hear you in the next building over. I've been guilty of both. It's not a fun time. You get marked down for both.
We heard that.
Thanks. As far as your confidence levels go, your reasons voice should inflect that. Your reasons voice should sound confident. If your voice wavers a little bit, that's okay, because usually when your vocal cords are being used to that extent, they tend to get tired. So that's normal. Don't get worried if your voice wavers. Step 5, don't think. Don't think. You only get 2 minutes in the reasons room, and you need to use this to the greatest extent that you possibly can. The more time you spend thinking and worrying about what you need to cover, the less time you spend talking and covering what you need to cover. The best way around this is to, instead of fussing over what you need to go over with the judge, briefly look at your outline before you enter the reasons room so that it's fresh in your mind. This will eliminate any chance of you forgetting something. It's not 100% foolproof, but it helps. Step 6, be prepared at the contest. Bring a water bottle, a clipboard, and a notebook, and make sure you come with more than one pen or pencil. It's very important to bring a blank notebook because you could be disqualified for bringing notes into the judging ring. As far as preparedness goes, taking notes is another large part of being prepared at a contest. Make sure your notes are organized and legible so that you can come back to them later and form a brief outline for your reasons. A method many judging coaches recommend to their students is to divide the notebook page into 4, one section per horse, which includes room to mark it down into further criteria if you so desire, and it also gives you room to write. A method that I usually use for this is, especially for halter classes, I will break my sheet down into 4, and I divide each section into balance, structure, breeding, sex characteristics, muscling, and tracking. The same goes for performance, but it's a little bit different. This allows you to go back to this outline before you end up writing your reasons so that you know what you're supposed to hit on. And it creates a hierarchy of information in your eyes so that you can see what you're supposed to be talking about first. Another way to be prepared at the contest is to know when you're scheduled to give your reasons. Know what set you're scheduled to give first, where, and when. Often there are more than one reasons rooms going at the same time, so you need to know which is which, and you need to be familiar with which judge you should be at first. Another way to stay organized is to continue to keep your thoughts in your brain after the contest is over. Between judging and reasons, there's often between half an hour and 2 hours for a break. Use this time to take a drink, get something to eat, organize your thoughts, and start writing reasons. Oftentimes, this time is underused by competitors, and you need to know how to utilize this time to the best of your ability. You should try to have at least your first set of reasons done before they start calling reasons. I usually try to have all of my outlines done before they start calling. Before reasons begin, find a nice, friendly wall and start talking. This sounds really strange, but if you've ever been to a judging contest before reasons begin, you know that it can easily be mistaken for a schizophrenia convention. So just roll with it, I promise. All in all, reasons should be one of the least worrying parts of a judging contest because you're only backing up what you said in the judging portion. However, I don't think I'd leave you without giving an example. This is what it should sound like when it's all said and done. Ma'am, my preferred alignment for today's class of hunters under saddle is 2-1-3-4, beginning with the horse who combined to the highest degree of balance and correctness, and ending with the horse who possessed the poorest attitude and way of going. Beginning with our top pair of 2, the bay, over 1, the Tobiano, it became evident that horse 2 was the better mover of the pair, possessing more thrust from the hind and superior forward reach. Additionally, horse 2 was the most consistent performer, having less movement through the head and top line, as well as a more workmanlike attitude. I do grant that horse 1 was the more stylish mover, having a nicer frame than did horse 2. However, it was his reluctance to balance and move forward which allowed me to place him underneath horse 2 in the class. Moving on to a close intermediate pair of 1/3, the gray, it became evident that horse 1 was the superior horse of this pair due to his superior balance and greater affinity to moving forward and usage of the hind end. Additionally, horse 1 possessed more thrust and balance, allowing him to move forward and use his front end rather than plodding forward as did horse 3. Horse 1 also possessed a softer hoof-to-ground contact at all gaits. I do fully admit that horse 3 was the more mannerly of the pair, having being softer and more expressive through the bridle. However, this cannot compensate for her lack of forward-going and balanced attitude, and placed her underneath horse 1 in the class. Concluding with our final pair of 3/4, the roan, it became evident that horse 3 was the more mannerly of the pair, having less attitude and giving her rider less trouble. Horse 4 was also the least stylish mover of the class, being short and trappy through the trot and strung out at the canter. Additionally, horse 4 had trouble with the canter, having a more pounding footfall and fewer issues through the head. Additionally, horse 4 was the least compliant horse of the class, being poorly mannered about the head and requiring more handling from the rider. For these reasons, I did place this class of hunters under saddle 2-1-3-4. Thank you. Now, this wasn't the best example in the world, given that I haven't had much preparation, but generally, reasons should sound like that in a confident and composed manner, even if you mess up. You need to know how to pull yourself back together and finish it out. I don't doubt that that was over the time limit. I also don't doubt that I would have gotten a score less than 40 for that, because I did stumble more than one time. All in all, reasons should be a culmination of all of your skills as a judge. Terminology, confidence, and knowledge of the class all come together to form a final thesis, and it's crucial to know how to present your thoughts to the judge in a well-informed and brief manner. For reference for this presentation, I utilized the North Carolina 4-H Horse Program Guide to Developing Effective Reasons, available online at no cost, which I highly recommend to anyone considering doing horse judging, as well as my previous experience with horse judging, as well as feedback from judges April Winslow, Vicki Bolton, and Kelsey Keithley. Also recommended for anyone considering horse judging is the Horse Conformation Handbook by Heather Smith Thomas, as well as the iPhone app, iJudge. Thank you for your time and attention. Are there any questions?
Wow, that's very nice. Wow, that's a lot to absorb.
It is. It's very
And
complicated.
then to have to actually go into reasons and speak again, I mean, that takes a lot of,
I've had about 2 hours preparation for that set of reasons, and 1 hour that was spent driving. So it's been a little bit rough this morning, but
So back to the beginning.
Mhm.
have to give reasons?
It depends on the contest. I know at the Region 1 contest this past year in July, they made reasons optional. So it was a separate score. You had one score for your total judging classes, you
Right.
had one score for your first set of reasons, and another score for the second. And it was judged separately, so they gave out ribbons for each portion. However, at the state contest for the junior and senior divisions, it is required, and at all national and world level contests, they have at least 2 or 3 sets of reasons, and at most, I think 6.
So what's the sets of reasons on the same judging class?
There is usually at least 2 sets of reasons. One will be on a halter class, and the second will be on a performance class. I know at the regional contest, they had a quarter horse mare's reason class and a hunter's under saddle.
Oh, not all classes are reasons.
Not all classes.
Okay.
They will announce beforehand which classes.
Because when you started the whole thing, you
Yeah.
started,
It's
you
not
started
on
out talking about, oh, reasons are gonna be in class, whatever, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So then, and then the, as you're going through, you say, oh, you're panicking because you weren't prepared to do reasons at all.
Mhm.
Gotcha, okay, and you know.
Because
have
it's
to
not
do all.
required at every contest. If you
Okay.
don't know you're supposed to give reasons, it's kind of hard to prepare. So,
And they actually give ribbons separately for judging versus the regions versus sometimes.
it depends on the contest, yeah. This
Depends
past year at
on-
regionals, they did that,
They did that.
which I thought worked very well, actually. It went
Okay.
smoothly, and it actually ended at TC line. So there you go.
Okay. Hey,
Go
sir.
ahead, no, go ahead, I'm trying to get the question together to make it sound intelligent. Because it's like,
I know mine goes on.
Yeah.
And I was wishing after I looked at the clock when you started to do it, I was gonna check your 2 minutes
It
and
was definitely over the
it was
time
probably
limit.
over 2 minutes.
It was probably at least 2.5 minutes.
Yeah,
right?
it was probably over.
Yeah, you
Yes.
get used to it in your head and you're like, oh, we're the time limit again.
so with horse, now, if I hadn't have seen horse judging, how it's done, I would have been like way out there. What the
Yeah.
heck are you talking about? But I've seen it, how it's done, and I could relate to that.
Exactly.
And, okay, now with horse, so horse judging is like a class. You judge the horse, and it, do you know going into it what you're going to judge, like, what was it, bay and?
The bay and the roan is a reference to color. It helps kind of the judge keep track of what you're saying. It's just a tool that, especially at the national and world level, most competitors use that technique. It's not required.
As opposed to number 32 or number
Yeah.
42 or whatever.
They always number it 1 through 4 to keep it easy to keep track of. And each class beforehand at each contest, you'll be given a list of what classes you're judging that day. And halfway through the contest they'll start announcing, like, your Appaloosa Geldings will be a reasons class for today's contest. And they will allow you to create an outline for that. You have to give reasons on it. Say your quarter horse geldings class isn't a reasons contest, they give you 2 fewer minutes to judge that class. They give you 17 minutes for a reasons class and 15 for a non-reasons class. So it does depend.
Wow, sounds very stressful.
It's very stressful.
High stress kind of
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. My first time going to nationals, I went for horseball. I had never touched a horse judging contest in my life. And I walked into the room, and down the hallway were the judging competitors. We're all talking to walls. And I looked at half of the team from New York, and I thought, why didn't you mention this? You'd think this would be a major part of the contest, because it came across as really, really stressful to me. And then I realized it shouldn't be as stressful as the actual judging. If you're competing
If
at
you're
that high
prepared.
level, you should just be able to rattle it.
Yeah.
You're
And just
prepared
go.
for it.
And usually for each set of reasons, you're given a different judge, so you can use the same format and just plug in different words, which is what I do.
Okay.
I use the same introduction and conclusion for every set of reasons I've ever done, ever.
Yeah, so you have a stated format, and then you just have to.
It's like a little